welcome back to episode 135 of New Meta Podcast. The patch is upon us, and we've been reading it for the last probably 30 minutes. We'll be able to give some hot takes, talk a little bit about the Major as well, and Dawnbreaker, of course. Marco, welcome to the pod. Are you excited for Dota 3?
Maybe not Dota 3, but excited for a big injection of Dota serotonin hype. Yeah. Very excited.
Yeah, they've changed the map, so you always know it's big when the map changes. That's like a once-in-a-year event. Adam, likewise, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the new Dota world, new Dota map, new Dota hero. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. This is like a national holiday.
Yeah.
Like the 1 hour and 30 minutes I get of reading through the patch notes, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah. I totally feel you. Patch days are exciting times for sure. Well, we've thrown the How Have Games Been feature out this week because there's simply too much to get through. So the only thing that we'll talk about before going on to patch notes and the new hero is the Major that concluded on Sunday, so good 5 days ago now, but fresh in the minds of Marco and Adam, no doubt, who are haunted by the reverse sweep that we saw, and Invictus Gaming taking the Singapore 1 Major with question marks in all chat and some incredible Dota 2. Marco, you've written some notes here in preparation, so I feel like I'll let you do a bit of summary or like say a little piece about the Major overall and thoughts that you had, and then maybe we can discuss the final because that's what a lot of people are thinking about. But
yeah, so I mean the patch is well timed to help recover the sad boys of any EG fan. I was so gutted about the result. It's 5.5 years since they've won a major tournament, i.e. TI5 was the last time EG won. Yeah, which is pretty brutal for that org. So yeah, that was sad. In terms of, I mean, the tournament was amazing to watch. So much high quality Dota. We spoke about it last week with the Thunder Predator hype and Neon hype and all this. China turns out to be dominant, getting about 3 or 4 of the top 8, and then every other region had one of team in the top 8. So no regions like left behind, but clearly the China teams showed which region is boss, so that was quite cool. Watching EG was so amazing until the last 2 games. Every game they played, they were just stomping China like they were nothing. Kaka is meant to be this god 10k pos 4. Just looks like a herald compared to Crit. Honestly, every game I watched, I would just go, everyone's kind of playing equal on par, but look at the pos 4, and Crit is winning this game from minute 0, and then the Karkar Lion was never really a factor until, the last 3 games of the grand final. Which, we can talk about a little bit, I guess. I put partial spoiler and ambiguous spoiler because I was trying to avoid the result. So the grand final is Sunday morning for us. It's like 2 a.m. Sunday is when it starts for us UK. So,
well, the grand final started at like 7, I believe.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, Sunday morning.
So I was watching it over the course of Sunday, Monday, basically, and tried to avoid spoilers. And okay, the partial spoiler was such a debate. So I wanted to see what just the game 1 draft was. So I go in the spoiler-free VOD, but I'm on my phone, and I click draft game 1 on the subreddit, and it's meant to take you to the start of the draft for game 1. And I guess maybe the grand final's still going on or something, but it takes me to kind of later in the video VOD on Twitch. And so then what I glimpse is EG having 2 wins. They're at the top of the screen.
So
I
you know
actually
they won the
glimpsed.
first 2? Oh,
Well,
my God.
I then kind of shut my brain off, so I didn't see how much IG had won. So I wasn't sure exactly when this was. I just knew they won at least 2 games. I was like, that is an annoying partial spoiler. And then the ambiguous spoiler is I went on my phone, go on Google Chrome to Google something, For some reason, my like crappy phone decides to be all Super Saiyan today and has the last page I was on preloaded, pre-refreshed, which is Twitter. So I open Google Chrome, and without like any seconds, I've got a refreshed Twitter in my face. And what happens to be the first tweet, I'm not even following the person, it's a retweet from Fly, who I am following, of Arbed's tweet, and I glimpse the first three words being "thank you for," and then I just like bail. And I'm like, okay, thank you for, it could be a win, or thanks for all the great messages, we won it. But to me, I was like, that tweet just sounds like you've lost. Like, thanks for all your support. Yeah. So in the heart of my hearts, even though I was watching it semi-spoiler free and I knew EG win 2 games, I was always like, that tweet's making me think something bad's gonna happen, and like in reverse sweep. So, yeah.
So I debated myself into thinking the game was spoiled when it actually wasn't. So what I watched or rather on YouTube, I saw the title of a video, which was something like Blind Sunstrike Incredible Play or something, and then the thumbnail is a picture of Kaka and like Arteezy like in the player booths. So I was like, oh shit, Invoker's going to get picked in the grand finals. Obviously it didn't, but this video turned out to be like a compilation stream highlights that included major clips and streamers clips. But I was expecting Invoker, so like game 3 that I see the full draft and I'm like, oh, there's no Voker, that means it must go game 4. And then game 4 I see no Voker and I'm like, oh shit, we're going to a game 5. And then there's no Voker in game 5 and I'm like, wait, what? And I just didn't know what was going on. I was so confused, and then I realised I misinterpreted the video. I actually never saw game 2 as well, because I got properly spoiled for game 2, because I watched game 1, the VOD, properly, and then trying to load the game 2 VOD, I sort of failed to load it properly, and I tried to basically mute and like cover the screen to get to where I needed to go for the VOD, but I didn't do it well enough, and I saw that EG were 2 up, so I was like, I can't be bothered to watch a game I already know the result of, so I'm just going to start watching live, which is what I did.
That was the Faceless Void game, which they stomped every lane and just stomped the game 2, which was strong.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Adam, what did you think about the finals and the tournament as a whole?
Well, I didn't watch the finals because it was while I was asleep, and I woke up and I checked Wikipedia. And I got really confused because IG's logo looks very similar to EG's logo now, and I was like, wait, who won? I'm staring at it like, which of these is EG and which is IG? And then I saw, I was just like, rats. And then I clicked on the little I button to like see the order of the games, and then I was like, oh no. Reverse sweep. And then I went to Reddit and I saw question marks, and then I got mad.
That was crazy, the question mark. Honestly, the casters were like, wow, this is unheard of BM. Or not unheard of BM, but this is a grand final, you're losing 2-0 and you're question marking the team, like, wow. What the fuck?
Yeah. I watched BSJ's stream, or I went back and watched a lot of the final on BSJ's stream after I'd watched the main stream. So I haven't already known the result. And that was really interesting because it made it even darker, because like BSJ and all the NA personalities are like talking about how EG have won the major and stuff during game 3. They're like, oh wow, it's incredible what they've done in this game. They're the best team in the world, and like all this, like I can't believe Arteezy's finally won a major and he's playing Razor. Like that's crazy. And I know what happened. I'm just like, oh god, so grim.
Because they are ahead. They are ahead that game. And
15k. Whoa. Yeah, and then they obviously they turn it around. And when the question mark comes through, BSJ's just like, what the fuck? Like, looking into the camera, like, what's just happening?
I'd kick off with laughing.
Yeah, but, I mean, I thought, at the time when I first watched the stream, I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, that's insane. But then when I watched Game 3 again on BSJ's stream, I was a bit more, like, it's still insane, but, like, EG are, like, tipping emo like throughout the games. He's like kind of playing bad. So like, he was probably just like really tilted and was like really hyped at the end of the game. Like, fucking question mark, let's go. I mean, it's still, don't get me wrong, it's still like insane.
There was a good Reddit thread with interviews of emo and also of Kaka.
Yeah,
and he talks a bit more about it, and talks about being tipped, and he said he overheard them kind of flaming him post game, like lighthearted mock flame, whatever, like you're more shit or something. So yeah, he was definitely hyped. He's young, relatively young, 20-year-old, pretty fresh on the scene, very fresh on the scene. Yeah. So I don't mind that. I'm all for the hype and stuff, but I'm like, I'd be like so keen to be that person if they question marks.
Yeah. What do you think about Abed playing Storm Spirit 5 games in a row?
That's
do you think it's just, is it fine or?
It wasn't fine. Honestly, so one of the notes I've put is C paid assassins, because I think Abed, and then obviously there's the commotion with ice,
yeah.
black holing, supernovas, whatever. But I think Abed really not misplayed, but just played a bit poorly and sloppily in game 4 and 5, and he had deaths that he didn't need to have, and I feel like he was fatiguing. But even, I mean, he didn't play the lower bracket final. I think having someone play the hero 5 times in a row is probably going to kind of fatigue you of the hero. Like, you can't really be arsed. I mean, he definitely was leaking in those last 2 games, and it was sad to see.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. Just mentally, when you've lost a game on the hero, and then obviously in the last game when you've just lost 2 games on the hero, you're just like, you need to, well, at least me personally, I'd want to freshen it up just so I had a bit more confidence in like the spells.
Yeah.
Having said that, like, Ollie plays Phoenix 4 out of the 5 games, which, you know, I don't know. If Abed wants to play Storm, then if you're Bulba or Fly or whatever, you're just going to be like, yeah, sure, you're Abed, you can play Storm if you want.
I think they just thought, we're not having Abed play Krob because it's so snoozy. You can't play Puck because it's banned every time. You can't play Io, it's banned every time. Void Spirit's shit as a mid. So the tournament suggests, or the meta of the tournament, the only hero left is Storm. I mean, but sure, you can mix up like Invoker or whatever flashy Quap. Could you play a flashy Quap or something? Or
I mean, you give an Ember or
Ember Spirit. Yeah, IG did an Ember one game. I feel like you could have mixed it up, and you probably should have from a hero fatigue point of view.
It's just a shame because they won 4 of the 7 games they played against them. That's
true as well.
They just did not win the correct games. I'm sure they would have taken a 2-1 in the like winner bracket semi or whenever they played each other, if that meant they could win 3-2 in the final.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they win 4 games in a row against this unbelievable China stack. And then,
I tell you what's quite cool, in contrast to Abed, so Fly obviously played the lower bracket finals and the finals, and the lower bracket finals was 2-1, and then the finals was 3-2, so he played 8 games, and he played 8 different carry heroes in each game, which is quite cool. So yeah, the opposite, just pure variety. That's why he probably picked Sven and Faceless Void. He was like, yeah, I know these heroes are crap, but I want to play a different hero each game, so the true Chad winner. Final word on the major before we go to the patch notes then. On this, I'm interested in your thoughts on the black hole stuff, because watching the game, it did feel to me like, I mean, choke's such a like horrible word to use, but it felt like they were forcing, almost Ice was thinking that he had to like get a really nice black hole on this Phoenix or whatever, so every time a fight happened, he'd like blow BKB black hole within like 0.2 seconds of the fight starting. And it just felt like, if you're gonna use your spells that quickly, you must be like some Super Saiyan, or you're not going to be able to get a good enough gauge on how the fight's going. And are you meant to just black hole Phoenix? That's like saying that Supernova's a more important spell than black hole. And black hole to me is like the biggest spell in the game, so it doesn't feel like a good trade when you're trading black hole for Supernova not going off. Do you know what I mean? So it just felt weird to me watching the finals and then having all the commentary afterwards saying, "Oh yeah, he did the right thing." I mean, did he? He made a speculative play where you hopefully will not have Supernova go off, and you're going to use Black Hole as a trade for that. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he has a 19-minute BKB, 25-minute blink. So for over half of the game, he can BKB Black Hole. So yeah, Phoenix Egg goes through it, but it takes about 5 seconds anyway to egg. And then the Lion, to me, the way what I saw it, it was the Lion and the Phoenix he was going on, because the Lion would do that big blink initiation blow, and the Phoenix would be kind of there or connecting. They always seem to be near each other, and to me, it always looked like he was trying to get those two supports. And what happened 3 times in a row is the egg gets off before he black holes, and Kaka does a very smart, quick reaction, moves away and dodges the black hole. And so it's like, wow, yeah, well played IG for disengaging, dodging the black hole. But like you say, he did it. He would react in 0.1 second to one hero showing, and typically it was that blink Lion. And I get that there's some BSJ analysis saying he needs to do it to stop the rest of IG initiating, I guess, because you've got Mars Blink and a Void Spirit being able to jump in, but it's so obvious that they're not going to be next to each other and they're going to be spread, and so surely you, as the Enigma, have to bide your time a little bit, wait for the enemy to misstep, and then make that play. Like the fight's not lost if you don't do it instantaneously. That's what really confused me. Like, why are you risking it being a failed black hole just to get a Lion Phoenix? It didn't make sense. Like, pure damage against a Spec and against a Mars, and to lock down the elusive Void Spirit. Like, why would you not save it?
Yeah.
For when you know it's going to be impactful. Like, no one's ever played an Enigma like that as well, where they would snap a black hole out of nowhere. Like, whenever you see Enigma, they wait for the right opportunity. They know they can get it, and they get it. They never make a speculative jump into no vision, which is what it felt like every time.
Yeah.
So,
That's
I don't know.
Exactly, yeah. That's sort of what it felt like watching it as well. I think that's well summed up. It's also interesting. Yeah, go on, if you're going to make a point about a related point.
So Ice playing Enigma in that game 5, they did well, IG, to ban out his Beastmaster, because that was clearly who he was strongest on. I think they might have had it 1 and 2, and in the game 5, they banned Beastmaster and Earth Spirit first phase. They identified that they are the 2 best EG heroes. But this kind of slow... The playstyle of an Enigma 3 didn't fit. I didn't feel like the Ice special. He felt like a hero too slow for him. It felt like a hero too slow for EG, honestly. There was a couple times where the rest of EG's just that bit further ahead than Enigma. They're not a slow siege team. They're fucking rapid aggro fighting. And it felt like Enigma was never able to connect and add impact. And Enigma was the highest net worth hero for about 20 minutes, but not one. So I felt a bit awkward seeing it on the Ice.
Yeah, I mean, BSJ and the sort of felt like there were about 10 people on call in this like Discord casting session. First of all, they were positive that it was going to be a POS 5 Enigma on Fly, and then Ice playing Death Prophet. They were positive, and then when they saw it, they were like, to the point where they were questioning whether like there was a misclick. They were like, "Is that?" They felt so strongly about it. And then also, this Ice first Enigma of the tournament in Game 5 of the finals, kind of. I mean, I'm not saying that's bad. Obviously, he knows how to play Enigma, but that's kind of scary to like get Enigma, the ultimate teamfight hero, in your final game when you're under the cosh trying to not get reverse sweeped. It's
not like a carry where the game plan's based. To play 8 different carries is fine. Carry does what carry does. It's not hard game plan. But I feel like for the other heroes, like if you look at IG's other 4 heroes, like Mars, Phoenix, Lion, Void Spirit, they are well rehearsed on those heroes. It makes sense. The Enigma 3, good point. I did think it was a 5 as well. I don't know why you wouldn't put it 5.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That was the major, and that's in the rearview mirror now, because we have got DotA 7.29? Is that the patch? Yeah, 7.29. Adam, talk to me about this new hero. What are we looking at here?
Dawnbreaker. Just looking for the comments, everyone's like, yes, a big, thick mommy. Let's go. They finally given me a hero with gigantic thighs to crush my head like a melon. That was one of the top comments on Reddit. So, shout out to that person. Yeah, I think the consensus is that it looks like a League hero or a Smite hero or an Overwatch hero. Just in like graphical style, like it looks very cartoony, and then so that lends itself to League, or lends itself to Overwatch, and then it's basically a League hero just from like the abilities.
Yeah.
Like a 3-hit passive, and then a big team fight ult, one disable, and one...
And a cone-shaped spell as well, as classic League.
But not that that's bad, it's just very reminiscent of that style of hero design.
Yeah, the movement as well, like the way that the spells move the hero, it's very quick and like flashy, and the Dota movement's a lot slower. You know, you think about like a Shadow Fiend winding up an ult, it's like a slow movement, or like... Beastmaster Roar animation is quite slow. In League of Legends, all the animations for the spells are like really nippy and like a cartoon, like an anime or something. Yeah.
So she seems, like every other hero, seems pretty busted on arrival. We'll see though. Well, how would we want to do? We want to go through the spells real quick.
Yeah, we can talk. I mean, people listening will know. We can just talk about like what we think about the spells individually.
I mean, I posted like 2 minutes after it get posted. I posted it in the Discord, and then I'm like taking my time going through each of the spells. Nick gets ahead of me, and he's like, "That ult," and then someone in the Discord's like, "Oh my god, that ult," and I get through the first 3 abilities. This is perfectly normal. Like, this is fine. I'm down for it. And then I see that ult, and I'm just like, oh no, what is it? And then I click on it, and I'm like, geez Louise, here we go.
Yeah. So this
I think the three spells in a vacuum are like fine, and then I guess you have to ship something like completely busted with a new hero.
Yeah.
So
yeah. This is a global stun and damage and heal. So we've got
AoE
a global
stun as well.
Yeah, big AoE. We've got a global hero on our hands.
And a teleport.
Yeah. It's on a 100 second cooldown. The mana cost is high. Marco, you wanted a carry hero. You've got one, kind of, here. At least it's being marketed as such. I wonder what your thoughts are on that from a carry perspective.
Yeah,
like how carryable is the hero?
The 3 aspects that stood out to me straight away: carry, yes; melee, yes. Because I way rather play a melee carry. Range carries feel a bit shit, and they lose the lane, and like I actually don't play range carries. I don't. Luna, Drow, Syllabur, Arc Quadrant, Clinks. Range carries just disgusting. No to them. So melee, fantastic. And then the fact it says 1 out of 3 complexity, I was like, gimme. I kind of disagree though. I don't think it's 1 complexity. Like, a Wraith King is 1 complexity. This
Wraith King's
got
0 complexity.
Yeah, true. So 1 is
2. Like
it's definitely 2.
Yeah, with the W and that dash thing, that auto makes it a 2. Like you can mess it up. So Wraith King, there's nothing to mess up.
Yeah.
Except for casting your Q and running out of mana to ult. Like, that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah. So, and then it says carry. Me and Stan jumped into Watch Client, and there was a game where it was being played as a 3 in a high-ranked game. I would like it to be able to be played as a carry pos 1. Having played around in the demo with the Q swingy smash, and then the passive gives you a critical strike every 4 hits. It's kind of like a Wraith King crit. You get the Q does do decent damage, and it's a bit AoE. So it's not going to be a hard carry because it's not an agi hero, which naturally scale better into the super late game. But I'm hoping the numbers are good enough that you could play it like a Wraith King like a Life Stealer, where you get perhaps Echo Saber, Sanjin Yasha, maybe like an AC, probably going to have to get a BKB.
Yeah.
And you are healing on that Q, so...
It's not much heal, but... Yeah.
No, but like if you got items, maybe late. But there's not like it's not like you're getting Medusa Split Shot or any of these big, passive bashes or anything like Lifesteal that makes you some supreme late gainer. Or late gamer. I kind of feel like it could be a Bruiser 4 or something, but I don't really know what it. I mean, I haven't touched the hero yet, but it just seems like you want to be getting in people's faces.
Yeah, and I think that's what will make it a good one. That you've got good damage spells with the Q in the passive. The W, it's a slow, and it's a catch and a gap closer. So I don't think it's really a 3 or a 4 friendly spell, because you really want hard lockdown on those 3, 4, 5 heroes. Whereas this is more, it just lets you keep on top of a hero by them being slowed, and then if you say get an Echo Saber, it's slowing them. The Q is a little bit of a movement stun as well, so that helps you keep the right clicks coming. So it definitely has the tools to do right click work, and so it could therefore be played as this I think a Bruiser 1, honestly.
The problem
it's gonna roll over games. It's really OP, and what's gonna happen is people are gonna play it 1, and they're going to be able to win with it 1 because you can TP across the map into a team fight like Spectre, and then just roll the fight and take all the towers and win the game.
And even
until it gets touched up.
Honestly, the W is the key component for it to be enabled as a 1, because when you play unconventional heroes as a carry, the issue you have is that you can't reliably get your damage off, because you don't have one of these blink strike spells, you don't have a stun lockdown, you don't have any gap close. That's so critical to 1. All it takes is a stun or a hex disable to stop you hitting heroes. But with this W, and its range is quite far, 1.3.
1300 at max.
So that means you can jump 650. That means someone can stun you, run away, but then your gap close in 650 range on a 12-second cooldown, and then the slowed for another 2.5. You might have another slow in your items. You can really keep on top of people, so you can really get a lot of damage output from right clicks. You
can also throw that hammer and run away, and then the line, you make a lot larger of a line of that flames behind you.
Yeah,
I bet you can do some pretty sick outplays where you throw it, run away, and they chase after you, and then you turn around and use the W, and it still pulls you towards them, and you go behind them or something.
I think, yeah.
I wonder if that Q applies on hit. I wonder if it applies Maelstrom while you're swinging, or Bash, or...
Ooh. But it does count as an attack for the Luminosity. It does count for that.
Yeah.
So you think it probably would proc things.
Might be okay.
The problem that I see for the hero is that it seems to sort of have a bit of anti-synergy to me, in the sense that you almost want to build around right-click because you've got Luminosity, so you sort of want attack damage. I think Echo Saber is going to be a good item for that reason. But then at the same time, farm-wise, the farm is really going to be about the Q and the W, right? You've got no way of farming with your right-clicks. So you're almost like a spellcaster, but also strength and also wanting to build attack speed.
Yeah, so it definitely is a hybrid. It's not this hard pos 1 farm for 30. The W is not really damage effective, I don't think. Unless the damage does the hammer do damage twice?
It does. The hammer does 150 damage at level 4, so not much, 150. And then does burn DPS of 20.
Yeah, so it's only... If the hammer goes through a hero twice, it only does damage once. Do you know what I mean? You throw it.
Yeah, it doesn't do damage on the way back. It just burns on the way back.
Okay, it just does. So the damage 150. Yeah, you're not really farming with it. Again, to me, it's all just a mobility spell. The Q though, 11 seconds cooldown on the Q. I think that's probably enough to be going by.
Yeah. Also,
80 mana, all levels.
It could be a Maelstrom hero because also you can proc Maelstrom on any hero hit by your Q.
Yeah.
So if you hit like 5 heroes with a Q, it could proc Mael on any of those hits.
Yeah, it's like a hoodwink acorn that, like, if you get multiple procs with people around, it just does crazy damage.
Yeah.
And she does, I mean, she's got great stat gain on all 3 attributes, so she's getting nice agi, getting nice int to keep up with the really good strength gain. 315 move speed, 3.5 armor, 64 attack without any items.
Yeah.
I think that's a 0.6 turn rate, which is really fast. I think the lower the number, the faster. That's how that works. And then 720 HP at level 1 without items. Yikes. That's a lot of that's a lot of health.
If you so the landing stun duration is 1.1, 1.3, 1.5, and the combo duration of your Q is 1.1. So at level 12, you can basically guarantee anyone you stun, you can swipe, stun again for a total stun duration of 2.7. So for a POS 1 to be able to, in theory, 2.7 AoE stun to heroes in a smallish AoE, if you're able to get that on 2 heroes, it's so GG.
With damage,
because they're dying. Yeah.
I was testing it in demo, and even if the hero that you're channeling on dies, you still complete. So that's fine. You can clean up.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's also
it's also going to be really strong against certain heroes. I think about how good this hero is against Tinker. You just have a Clockwork that, or any hero that gets on top, like a Storm Spirit. There's so much jump potential. Just any hero that gets on top of any sort of squishy target, and you can just go straight on top of them with a stun. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think this hero actually can still. I mean, it's still fine using an Abyssal Blade even without the Blink Strike, because you have multiple ways of getting on top of people. So
yeah, it's interesting to see. We'll see how the hero develops. No doubt next week we'll do a Dawnbreaker corner with some updates on how the hero's looking.
Yeah.
For now, though,
I would love to see this hero with like Molyneux, Scotty, Abyssal Blade, like on hit effects, and just Q and just smack, and it just slows and procs on everything. But I just don't.
It feels like
that's not how it's going to be built.
It's like Omni Knight's wife. It's like it's kind of like Omni Knight.
First thing it loads in, you're like, oh my god, this is like an Omni hero, because she's just a ball of light, and then
with a hammer.
But then she kind of looks like a space person. Well, I guess she is a space thing, right? I don't know. I barely read the paragraph of lore, but
I don't like the name Dawnbreaker because it makes me think. I just read Dawn as in the female name Dawn, and I'm like, this character really doesn't fit the female name Dawn.
It makes me. If it is an item name to me, Dawnbreaker.
Yeah, Dawnbreaker seems like a sword, or like I guess maybe it's the name of the hammer she has, but she really does look like a robot.
Yeah, she does look like a robot.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. Like, when we update next week, we'll see what the voice lines are like. I did, or like the Dota Plus lines. Maybe she has some good ones, but I was looking at the talents, and at 15 she does get negative 20 seconds on the ult, so that makes it 80. Like that's pretty big. I think you take that over 20 damage every single time, 100%. Like the ult seems to be the draw of why you would want to play the hero. So, yeah.
Let's go on then to map changes. This is going to change the game so much. There's a lot to go through. There's trees, and there's all of these dire, radiant, primary jungle, side lane, safe lane, ward spot examples on the update. So I don't know how we want to go about this. It'd be quite difficult to talk about in podcast form. So I guess people just, any bits in particular that you think are interesting to go over. I'll start by saying that on this first update that's titled Radiant Safe Lane, so I guess second one, the hard camp, Radiant Safe Lane hard camp is now significantly closer to the enemy tower. And to me, it looks like it's now much harder, if not impossible, to pull the hard camp in the same way that you used to. And it's now much more dire favoured playing playing that lane, because the hard camps are that much easier to pull for dire versus Radiant.
Yeah. You're going to need those old school easy camp double stack pulls.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one thing. And also there's lots of little paths. I feel like they've added lots of little tight paths around the map that didn't used to exist. There's one around the Radiant safe lane, and there's others around the dire safe lane and stuff like that. Little single hero pathways and stuff like that I think is quite interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about the hard camp in the Radiant safe lane. And then in addition to that, I think the fact you can move around the back of the small camp in the Radiant safe lane adds higher vulnerability if you're playing in that area, because there's more kind of trees and pathways for the enemy to sneak around and move around. It's harder to see people coming. And the similar message to the Radiant mid. You've now got two ways of getting from that high ground to the mid tier 1. So if you're ganking, you've got two routes you can kind of collapse from. And I think that makes it an advantage for the dire playing on the offensive, rather than just having that one ramp near the small camp and bounty rune, where it's quite easy to see that one point of entry. So I think the mid Radiant's also more vulnerable. So I think they are looking to balance the Radiant OP-ness that we always see in the statistics with these map changes. Then the wards, there are a couple ward cliffs have changed. It's hard to gauge how that exactly will be. I think the dire jungle's better for dire now, because there's more trees in the dire jungle, primary jungle. So to me that favours like heroes running away or heroes kind of waiting to gank. So I think for a dire it's easier to play. And then the triangle of dire, hard to say. Dire safe lane, has that changed? Similar treatment. There's now a path behind the small camp. Doesn't seem as painful as a change. It's a similar change to the Radiant, I guess, but like you say, that hard camp situation is still the same. So yeah, I think the mid lane's the biggest one.
Yeah, I would say that the triangle spots, so dire triangle is the example here, it's very expansive now, and it's almost harder to hold, my instinct, because it used to be that the triangles were quite tight high ground spaces that you could hold quite comfortably and have sort of full vision of by just having heroes there without any wards. Now it's harder to do that, so I feel like I wonder if Ice Frog's trying to make the high grounds a little bit more penetrable for teams, which is probably a good thing.
Also, with a vaster space, it's harder to ward, or also harder to de-ward. There's going to be way more kind of ward spots when there's a bigger triangle surface area to play with. We've
got more outpost changes to come, but just on the positioning of the outposts, then they've made them very prominent right in the centre of the primary jungles and 360 degrees around, so the vision aspect's important. I don't think they changed the vision, did they? Or maybe we'll get there in a minute, but they're much more prominent and I suppose more important to control, perhaps, for the TPing in aspect. They're give you way more access to like TPing into fights and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's quicker to TP in as well, that's true. But the fact you're getting this constant XP every minute rather than every 10 minutes, or was it?
Well, it's spread out.
So yeah, rather than every
XPM.
10 minutes you get, it's now this XPM every minute. So it's purposely placed now right in the centre of these primary jungle areas where it's now its own little battlefield, and there's going to be a lot more fights and objective skirmishes happening in that primary jungle area where the outposts are. So that's going to be cool. I think that's going to be fun to do.
Yeah,
kind of a new objective.
couple of things about the trees, this tier 1 and tier 2 areas with the tree changes. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are about this, because I feel like this could be really impactful on the game combined with another change. So it seems to me that they've spread out the trees a lot more, so there's a lot more gaps in between the trees, and the trees in the side lanes are much less thick, so much thinner. That combined with the fact that now you can TP to a much larger area around towers means that I believe that you'll be able to TP to defend towers and stuff quite deep into the trees to the side of the tower, and contest the much narrower lanes. So I feel like now it's scarier to push like a tier 2 or a tier 1 tower, because you can't easily just cut a couple of trees and therefore see if anyone's TPing in. Actually, it's much harder to monitor that, because they could be TPing in quite deep into the trees.
Yeah, so the radius was like, 550 that you could TP to a tower, now is 800, I think, so that's sizable. My gut reaction is that they or IceRock felt like tower pushes and tower objectives were becoming too stagnant from a almost viewer or playing perspective, where it was very much the case of you take the objective when it's kind of guaranteed, you know you can take it, you know you will take it with no opposition, particularly the side lane towers we're talking about. And it would always be this kind of trade-off, each people take their own tower, or in losing cases you just have to give it up because it was so hard to defend because of those TP issues so easy to see. Whereas now, perhaps because they've got that extra TP range, it's easier to come into the tower and defend it, and harder to kind of punish from a TP perspective. Even from a pushing perspective, if you're talking about there being more trees around these tower objectives, that could make it even easier to defend and therefore harder to siege, because it's not like, oh, there's one spot you can hide in to defend a tier 2. If there's now kind of 3 or 4 spots you could be hidden in, now it's going to be way harder to push into, because you can't just have sight on one spot and see everything. It's now like going to be more uncertain. And
the lanes are so much narrower now because they push the trees in. I mean, particularly this Radiant bot tier 2 example, there's trees right next to the tower, so it's kind of interesting. It's much easier to, like you say, it's just easier to hide basically around. Let's move on then to these general updates. First of all, mid lane has been saved, so water power runes. There's now a water power rune that spawns at both rune locations only at minute 2 and 4, and then from 6 minutes onwards there's the power runes back to just one side. So now no longer will your mid have to cry about the enemy getting a 50-50 rune, at least not until 6 minutes. And the water runes provide 100 health and 80 mana when used, and they fill bottles. So it feels to me, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Adam or Marco, but bottle super early, almost you could even argue maybe even starting with a bottle, because if you're going to guarantee to get a full bottle refill and 100 health and 80 mana at 2 minutes, that's bonkers. You're obviously going to want to utilise that power rune to get a full bottle refill if you can. So it's interesting, even with the nerfs to bottle, the mid lane meta is going to be shifting a lot, I think, with this change.
Yeah, we might be back to bottle rush.
Yeah, you probably save gold to get the bottle after one wave, say, so that you can spam all your spells to then get that rune, which gives 80 mana, then 3 bottle charges.
Yeah.
Albeit slightly less from the bottle charges.
I don't know if you go naked.
Not naked, but
no items and then get a bottle.
I think you could easily spend 300 rather than 600.
Yeah,
I could see that.
They've been calling for this.
Even though they nerfed it, it's still, you still get it at 2 minutes and 4 minutes. Before, you would never get it because you had to wait till 4 minutes. So might as well start with a bunch of stat items in region to be able to win the first 2 minutes to make it to where you can get the bottle before the 4 minute rune.
It's also going to have knock-on effect to the side lanes, because you'll find situations either where one of the side lane, like the POS 4, could abandon, and then it leaves the 3 vulnerable, Or you could find situations where the side lane perhaps shoves a wave in hard, the support in that side lane does a hard camp pull to reset the equilibrium, and at that time then goes and connects for the rune or something like this. So the side lanes are going to likely have to think about it a little bit. But at least POS 4s are going to have it to think about now as well. Maybe not the POS 5, but the POS 4s. But even then, maybe the POS 5s now have to get involved, and the carry just has to hold that equilibrium as best they can or something. We'll have to see how important it becomes.
For the rest of these general changes, I don't know if you guys have anything you wanna pick out here. It's interesting that you get a TP scroll on death now. I think that's quite funny. Buffed feeders and bad players.
Well, they took away my 3 I get at the beginning, so they better compensate me.
Yeah, I think that's quite
Yeah, it's
funny.
really nice for position 5s.
Yeah.
That, combined with even cheaper sentries. Never been a better time to be a support. Smile.
Yeah.
If we want to point out something, we're back to stats gaming. It's been about 3 years.
Longer than that. I've never played Dota where you level stats. This is the first time I've ever done that.
Oh yeah, here we go. Welcome.
You're going to have to be initiated into the experience of you pick a hero and someone's like, oh yeah, we're going to swap. You're level 1 and skill stats and then swap heroes and
screw them over.
They've lost a spell point.
Yeah, it's the new BM.
This says is for the 7 empty levels between 1 and 26. It says can be leveled in any order, which means presumably you can do it early, like in the old days.
Yeah, you can.
Where
I demoed it.
You'd be anti-mage, classic. You'd like put 1 point in mana break and like 1 point in the blink, and then you just be skilling stats so you could like survive. I wonder if on these core heroes, if you do that, like Jug, I could totally see Jug going some stat points over, more points in the crit or that healing ward.
That's interesting. It's two all attributes, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's nice. These bounty runes, that's quite a big objective change. No longer fighting over bounty runes every 5. You're now fighting over 1 bounty rune in the primary jungle every 2. Is that right?
3.
Oh, every 3. Okay. That's interesting, I think.
Yeah, so I don't think there'll be as much objective fights because they're more frequent and they're deeper, so they're going to be easier to secure because they're deep in your own side of the map. I think, and no longer get that burst of gold. It's now smoothed as GPM over the time period, so there's less instantaneous benefit from snatching bounties. So I guess the game is just a bit smoother. I think it'll be equally balanced. I think that skirmish around the objective is going to be more on the outposts now, rather than going deep into an enemy woods for a bounty rune every 3 minutes. I think the outpost will see more of that action now.
Yeah, although of course you still need a tier 2 for the outpost, but yeah.
Oh, do you? Okay, yeah, still need a tier 2. Fair enough. So yeah, you guess pre 20 minutes you could still have these raids into the enemy woods, try and get the bounties. I don't mind the changes. Pretty ambivalent.
And then final one maybe to mention on general before we go into items and heroes is that couriers no longer have vision of the Roche pit, which is pretty big because even in pubs, people now put their couriers in Roche pit to see when it's going to respawn. And in the pro games, that's a huge sort of tactic that's used is glyphing your courier and then sending it in when there's a fight, or just having couriers there to see Roche. So that's taken out of the game, which will have some consequences. It sort of just feels like a quality of life change. It makes it harder to contest Roche, I guess.
Indirect buff to units that you can spawn.
Yeah, that's so true, yeah.
It's just such a bummer that you'd be able to fly that courier in there and pick up, like, the items.
Yeah.
It's, like, uninteractable. It's really hard to kill it because it sits on, like, that edge of the Roche pit. You can keep flying in and out of vision. They're surprisingly tanky. Like, supports really couldn't kill it in one shot, and they're the ones that are focused on trying to do it because the other hero should be DPSing the Roche, and then just glyphs itself, swoops in, steals your Refresher Shard or Ags buff and cheese, and is like, see you later.
Yeah. That's quite funny.
We gotta say rest in peace to some of these abilities not killing trees. The trees have gotten pretty strong now. Timbersaw is even more scared of these trees.
Yeah, man. What was the funniest one?
Well, so these no longer destroy trees. Is Earth Splitter, which literally splits the earth. Macropyre, which lays a gigantic plume of lava on the ground. Meteor Hammer, which calls upon a meteor from the sky. And Mortimer Kisses, which also just is a gigantic napalm blast. Those don't kill trees anymore.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's a nerf to Jakiro, honestly, because you get value from burning the trees down.
Yeah, it's like Jakiro against Monkey King or something.
Yeah, MK, yeah, I was just thinking
Vision
that.
and fights. And
yeah, I mean, I guess there's some value to, like, putting down a Macropyre in these trees, and people are kind of, like, stuck trying to run around through the trees to get out, but I'd rather just kill the trees. Especially when something like Arena of Blood just levels the ground.
Yeah.
Or is that what it's called? Or Mars Arena, whatever.
Yeah, Arena of Blood, yeah.
It's just like, and we've flattened everything, around. And then there's a huge list, a huge list of things that reduce the radius of tree destruction, which I want to see because, like, I loved playing Beastmaster and Wild Axing, like, just throwing the axes and just killing all the trees. So I wonder what that's like. You're like, it's so much thinner. Like, your axes are killing way fewer trees on the way there and back. Yeah, that was, like, always fun to do, especially when you're against something like a treant in lane, and you're just like, and I've killed all your trees in lane. Good luck trying to get to me.
Yeah. No, that will be interesting. I wonder if the wild axes will leave, like, some trees in the middle of the axes. If it, like,
it already did that a little bit. So I imagine it's going to be, like, even bigger.
Right.
It'd be, like, really weird. And it's not, like, a type of thing where you would just want to keep spamming it. It's kind of expensive to just be doing that early.
Yeah,
but it is funny. I wonder what that reasoning was, because I kind of liked killing like that mechanic. Just by making a ton of vision for wards, or like making sure to not let Timbersaw have stuff to chain to, or Hoodwink or Monkey King.
Tinker TPs to a wave, tries to, like, shift blink into trees, and he's just naked and, like, shit. Yeah.
I'm exposed.
Let's go to the item changes then. Let's pick out some of the big ones. I mean, we've noted some of the big ones, but let's maybe talk about RIP Necro book first. They just removed it. We did promise a Necro book change was coming. Don't think we foresaw this, though. They just took it out of the game. I mean,
I thought it could happen, but I didn't think I would have put it under 50%.
It's surely coming back.
I don't know. They, like, that item has been such a problem to balance for so long. Yeah. That I'm sure that they were just fed up with it. Although Book of the Dead is still in the game, so
I like the style of this item's too strong. We can't balance it. It's annoying. Fucking get rid of it.
Yeah,
we've seen it happen before. I respect it. I think it's the best way to balance it is just get it out. We don't need it in the game. It's not fundamental.
I mean, they tried everything. They're like, we'll make it more expensive. We'll change the recipe. We'll make it cost a lot of mana. And then they're like, well, okay, we'll just stick on Necro 1. It's super value. And like, okay, well, now we'll make the Necro 3 units worth getting. It's like, okay, now the Necro 3 is like really OP. And everyone, like, every position's building it. And they're like, we'll just remove it, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad, because well, no, it's not sad. Like, I hated that item. I hated it on the heroes that always built it. It made it way too, like, it was way too good. But I was kind of liking the, like, Tusk tag team Necro stuff. Like, that was kind of cool. And it was kind of fun to, like, play, like, Sniper Necro book or Dazzle Necro book. But yeah, like a Necro book just felt so gross. And honestly,
Beastmaster, get me out.
Yeah, that felt so gross. And like every time I played a support and you were against a Necro 3, it just felt like the most untenable thing to try and ward. It was like, why to even put them down? I'm just feeding gold to the other team. And I can't place these wards on the ground ever because they'll just incidentally find them, and I can't put them on the high grounds because that's where everyone looks in the first place. And the Necro Archer will kill it on its own. Like the melee heroes don't even have to commit to kill, the wards. So it was just awful. It felt awful.
Yeah, it's difficult to balance. For me, I was like, if you take out Last Word damage, and if you take out True Sight, I'd be happy, but then probably that just makes the item terrible or something. I don't know.
I hated the True Sight. Maybe, like, True Sight doesn't work on wards, but that'd be... Like, weird. I understood, like, sometimes it's like you're against an Invis hero and, like, you need a Necro book. Like, that made sense, but it just made the ward battle awful. Yeah. And, like, even they made it, like, really worthwhile to kill them from a gold perspective, but it just never really balanced. Like, you never really were punishing someone for doing it. Like, they got too much value out of the wards, out of the creeps. They were totally okay with killing them. It's like they had a purge on them, and they drained mana. It was the best item for everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess a Ricky Necro book. I'm against a Wraith King Necro book. I'm against a Necrophos Necro book. I'll just purge off the Decrep or Repugnant. It's like, what? Who do you play against Necro book?
Yeah, it's so grim. I mean, I'm not sad to see it go.
Yeah,
I would say they changed tangos. The shared tango now expires after 40. I won't dwell on it, but I think the new meta is one tango shared to the mid now. I think Rip. Can I have 2 tangos, please? I think that's over. I think it's just 1 tango.
Well, I don't know how... by the time you give it to someone, the horn hasn't even gone off yet. So, do you even give the mid a tango at all?
That's true, actually, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. You wouldn't. You just buy your own as a mid.
Or are we in the meta where the 5 follows around the mid and waits for the horn and then gives them a tango?
Yeah, they could...
You could see that in pro games, maybe.
I think they'll... Yeah, they could.
2 tangos and then TPs to safe lane or something.
I mean, this is Dynamic's dream right here. He always hated giving tangos to people, and he always bought his own as mid. So he's already been preparing for this change.
But also, I have seen in the last kind of few days, it feels like I've seen more mids buying 3 tangos anyway.
Yeah.
And just having more tangos to fight with in the lane and that casual, just sustain. So... Yeah.
It's become normal to buy your own set of tangos. You used to just get a salve auto with the first bounty, but now a lot of people, they still get a pooled tango usually now, but they also buy a set of tangos for the lane as well. So maybe they just start with tangos now.
I'm actually so excited for this as a support. Like, I've started with 4 tangos for years now. Now I think I can just buy 1 set and keep them all to myself and just have 3. And that's 90 gold now that I have to spend on a mango or like a
save up
Sentry
for a bottle
or something. yeah.
Save up for a OP bottle, yeah.
Seriously though, it's like so much better that you don't have to share. It's like a couple branches or something.
Yeah. Marco talked to me about these 2 big boy carry items, Satanic and Abyssal. So Satanic now has a basic dispel on cast, and the cooldown's reduced by 10 seconds, and it can't be dispelled. And
Which I didn't even realize Blade. You could dispel it.
I've never seen it dispelled.
I've never seen it dispelled. Yeah, and you also have an Abyssal Blade that no longer has a blink attack. So, what do you think about these changes?
Yeah, so the Abyssal Blade is massive nerf that really brought it into prominence. It was like a 600 range. Cast, which is such a lot of gap close for carries, so you're probably going to see less Abyssal Blades and more special blinks probably, or just less Abyssal Blades, honestly. I can't see that item being as common. Satanic, 35-second cooldown to 25 is sizable. You could get that off 2 times in a fight for sure. You could have a fight and you can reset 10 seconds faster. Often you use Satanic just to heal afterwards, so that sustain factor is way better. And then the basic Dispel in the late game, when you have Satanic, like 30 plus minutes, 35 plus minutes, there's usually a lot of bullshit on you as well in these fights. So a basic Dispel is going to be decent value for a late game item. So I'm happy to see that. I think Satanic's a fun item for the man fight, stand and right click. Like you don't just get blown. You can, I love the the stand and right click fights. Sad to see Abyssal get nerfed, but fine. I didn't expect it, but I'm like, okay, sure, it was really good. So see you later, alligator.
Yeah, I think with the rise of upgradable blinks, specifically like Swift Blink, like I don't think you need Abyssal Blade to have a little movement on it too. It probably just causes people to build more blinks. Ursas were already buying blinks. Like, it was kind of trending towards that anyway, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
It's weird that Ursa didn't need to buy Blink when they changed Abyssal and the Q. It's quite funny. Adam, you were excited about Solar Crest. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I think so the three big items I think that got buffs were Satanic and Diffusal Blade, and then the one with the most is Solar Crest. It's 1,150 gold cheaper because they got rid of the Ultimate Orb and they just put like a crown in its place and changed the recipe a little bit.
That's a lot cheaper.
It's like, it's like a lot cheaper. Probably like 30% cheaper or something, and you would think, okay, they're going to like nerf the active by 30%, but it's like, no, they just changed the attack speed bonus or removal from 80 to 65, so it's like way more value. It's like still a 65 buff, still 6 armor buff. Since it has a crown, it still gives you like plus 5 stats instead of plus 10 stats, so they made it like way cheaper, but didn't nerf the output by the same percentage, so I think it's like really good for supports.
I think it's around 2.6k gold now.
It's cheaper than Vlad's and Spirit Vessel.
Instead of 37, so like it's so good.
It's a phenomenal value, like Adam says. I think every game should have this if you've got a right click and carry.
There's like a Tusk like goes this instead of Necro Book every time. Like, this is an amazing item to throw on your carry. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, you get Medallion in the build-up.
Medallion, Windlace, and a casual crown. Like, sure.
Yeah, it's like all value, and it's like, okay, 900, and I get 2 slots plus this sick active, Roche Control, and buffing my carry by a Hyperstone over a Hyperstone.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
Yeah, some other ones just to drive by mention. Kaya spell mana regen amp over doubled from 24% to 50%. Some heroes are going to love that. Basically, heroes that already like Kaya, like Storm or Timber and stuff like that.
They needed this patch.
I know, yeah, he really did. And then we've got Rapier losing True Strike, which is quite a big deal. Damage has been increased from 300 to 350, but that feels like quite a reasonable nerf to Rapier strats, specific Rapier strats. You'd often see it on heroes like Medusa or, TBPA, stuff like that. Yeah, Rave King, and just as like a all-in, either an all-in or like you're already ahead and you kill off the game. I know Miracle likes to buy it when he's ahead and stuff like that, because it gives True Strike, basically. So now Rapier's, I guess, quite a bit more underwhelming. Which I personally didn't feel like it was necessary to do that. I thought Rapier was fine.
Yeah, it's fun. It makes the game fun to watch.
So I
don't know, but it's like, it's kind of iffy because it was like a really good item. Yeah. It's like better. It's just like better than an MKB in every way, except that you can lose it. But a lot of, at the pro level, you're building around not losing it. So
yeah,
it's like it was just outclassed an item. And now I don't know what you get for True Strike. I guess you go MKB or Witchblade because they added True Strike to the poison. Like I don't know. I think if you're a PA, you're pretty happy.
Yeah, for sure. You are happy. They reduced the projectile speed of Atos and Gleipnir from... Or rather, increased it. Okay, so it's worse. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's faster.
It's better. Okay, that's quite nice. That's quite a nice quality of life, especially for the Gleipnir, because, you could miss it if you target an area rather than a hero, so it makes the catch a lot easier. Is there any other items you want to go over, or are you happy to go to heroes now?
Wind Waker cooldown 23 to 18. That's really huge. Just really buffed. And Scythe of Vice 22 to 20.
Yeah, that's nice.
Bring that down. That makes me happy. Helm of the Overlord is now an item. That's Helm Dom 2.
Yeah.
Dominate 2 creeps seems pretty iffy, but maybe Lycans and stuff do that now that they don't have Necro books. And then Diffusal Blade seems like a good agi item again. Just not even like a illusion hero item, just like a agi carry. It's like mana break damage per mana burn increased from 80% to 100%, and then
Agi
24 agi. Yeah, it just seems like you might. Quite I don't know. Nice Jug might get it or something.
I like the fact that Mage Slayer is 200 cheaper as well. I like that.
Yeah, I like that item, and I would like to see it more because I do think it is useful more of the time than it's picked up, just because people are still like, I don't know what that item does.
Yeah, no, I agree about that. Rip Royal Jelly. No more Royal Jelly. Feels bad.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I thought that was the best tier 1 item, but you were saying you thought...
Trinket is pretty
Trinket's
bonkers.
The best?
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably would go with... I probably would say Jelly Shovel and then the Trinket. But
it depends on the hero.
Yeah.
Some heroes, Trinket's actually redundant.
I mean, I've seen people keep Trinket through tier 3s because they're like, I just don't think anything's better than what this, Death Prophet's like, I'd rather have this forever.
Yeah, like Storm Spirit. It's like a mini Kaya. Yeah, that's insane. Let's go on to heroes then, and there's honestly a mountain of changes because there's a billion heroes now. So I think it's best if we just open the floor up for however long we still want to just mention heroes. Marco, where are you looking for a hero change that's major?
You don't want to make this a 10-hour purge.
Yeah.
Or let Purge stick to the 10-hour things, I think. I'm eager to spam. If Mars is anything to go by, then I've got pedigree at spam clicking heroes, so I'm ready to load into a unranked game and just get some Dawnbreaker action going.
I'm doing bot gaming for the Dawn. And then, unranked and go for a 13 win streak in ranked with Dawn and just end it there.
Nice.
In terms of heroes, honestly, really none stand out to me. A lot of the neutral items and nearly most heroes were very marginally changed. There wasn't anything significant. Even if you go to someone like Puck, where you go, wow, this hero is S tier, first phase ban, it wins every lane, it's perfect every game. And you look at the changes, phase shift cooldown up, waning rift cooldown up, finished. It's alright, pretty chill. So honestly, none of the heroes excite me really. There's loads of shard changes as well. The one that I would highlight first, you mentioned the save potential of Necro's shard. Yeah. Another hero whose shard is a save potential is Pudge. So the shard it lets you use Dismember on an ally, and that cast range has gone from 160 to 400. So 160 is melee, 400 is significant, and it came to my mind because I had a ranked game where I was a POS 1 and I think I was a Weaver, and there was a moment where this Dismember, I really had no idea what happened. It completely saved me, just complete save tool. Pudge just took me out the fight and just shut me out in a safe place. And I was like, wow, what a play. So good. And now it's on 400 range. You're doing...
That's over a arena wall. You can...
Yeah, it's like an OP snowball, so because you just then walk away with them inside you. You're
Save
really
them from a Chrono or a Black Hole.
Yeah, and then you let them out.
Blink in, 4 staff out,
because then you buy time for cooldowns, so then you let them out and the cooldowns are back up and they're able to fight again.
And does it heal you while you're in there too?
There's a chance.
And it's not, presumably it's not some weird channeled thing. You just eat them and then
instant.
you can
you just eat. It's like a Snapfire.
Right, okay.
Oh, ally max health as health regen 6%. Ally order lock duration 3. So are they kept inside you for 3 seconds? I think.
Or can you choose to let them out earlier?
You can eject
you can
them.
Choose.
But then it makes Dismember a 10-second cooldown, so you can do this save every 10 seconds, and it's a heal as well. And now it's 400 range. I think it's genuinely a really good shard.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
it's like,
I like it.
Your teammate is caught in a time chrono lock vortex, and you're just like, I'm going to eat this person. Yeah. Like, who wins? The person that controls time and space, or just one very hungry boy?
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Necro though in passing, and I just want to highlight because I kind of feel like it's insane. So the shard's been reworked and it no longer does 50% more damage or heal, which was boring. And it applies Decrepify on the target enemy or ally for 2.5 seconds. Against enemies, it reduces magic resistance by 25%, so it doesn't if you use it on an ally. So this is just a straight up E-Blade active, which, if you think about supports that buy E-Blade, you often see Crystal Maidens, go for some E-Blade 4th item or something, just for the save potential. Now you have it on a Necro for 1.4k, and the magic resistance reduction synergizes so well with your ult and your Q. I feel like for 1.4k, it's almost like a must-buy save. Saving allies that are getting gone on by physical, and it doesn't reduce their magic and stuff. Kind of bonkers.
Pugner's Decrep for 1.4 thousand gold. I mean, spells are ridiculously strong for fundamental to the game. To buy a spell for 1.4k gold seems pretty cool. I guess it's like the Pudge Snowball. You're buying it for 1.4k gold. Seems pretty reasonable. Yeah, I agree. And his Necro got the little buffs also to the number, Ghost Shroud, slow is better at early levels, Heartstopper regen is better every level, lasts longer, Scythe casts faster, so little buffs for Necro. I'd like to have seen an MS buff, honestly, along with these little numbers, because we know MS is the golden... I'd
quite like to see his passive reworked to be Dawnbreaker's ult, and then that'd be quite nice.
Yeah.
Fly around the map on Necro. That is always the thing that hurts the most when playing the hero, but there you are.
Yeah. I have such a soft spot for Necro. There was I don't know if you know that I have a soft spot for it. There was a time in Dota 1.
You always try and make me play it, so...
Well, for the free wins in the party, yeah.
You actually overrate my Necro so much. Necro's fucking hard. Sorry, go on.
It's easy. But yeah, I have a soft spot. In Dota 1, there was one of the places that you would play pubs, if you like, on this DotaLeague.com. There was a VIP section where if you had to have 60% win rate and enough games to be able to play in VIP, rather than just kind of general. And they would have a really good matchmaking system where, depending on your MMR, basically via this website, they would match you in a 5v5, then you'd go and join a lobby in Battle.net. And in my push to get VIP, to get the necessary 60% win rate, I spammed Necro like 20, 30 games in a row to hit it, and clinched it with Necro, and then you get this VIP tag against your name, and yeah. So I got a soft spot for Necro.
Yeah, fair enough. Any other heroes that we want to name check here?
Plenty of heroes. I haven't got to say one yet.
Go ahead.
Abaddon, the first hero on the list. Because nobody else is going to say it, so I'm going to. Seemed like a lot of the heroes, they changed backswings, and Abaddon got 2 backswing buffs. So, like 50% reduction on Miscoil and Nephotic Shield. If anyone's ever played that hero, they know it can be kind of clunky to get your spells off. So, I'm all for being able to spam those spells faster, get them out, the Miscoil and the shield, and then I think that shard is pretty good now, because they it gives what it already used to give, and then it also reduces Mistcoil and Aphotic Shield cooldowns by 1 second each. So you're like spell spammer. So now it causes Shield and Mistcoil to apply a curse stack on enemies, and then it increases the base load by 10%, and it lowers the cooldown of those 2 spells by 1 second. So it's like a lot of little things. Pretty good little buff, and then the fact that you're able to like cast those spells so much better.
Yeah, it'd be cool if Abaddon 5 was mainstream playable, because you do see it in the pros quite a lot. You did see it at the major a fair bit, but you don't see it in pubs really.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if it got to a place that's despicable.
That's my soft spot hero. I just love that hero. And
yeah.
I'm gonna play it because I just realized Solar Crest is so much cheaper, and I already went that build. I already went Vlad Solar Crest, and now I can get it so much faster. That's nice. my 3 Abaddon. Just soak things and buff up a Medusa or something. Like that's everything I just want to do. As a hero.
This next one I'm actually kind of scared to talk about because I don't want people to do it against me, basically, because it's the worst thing that I've played against for a long time in Dota. But this Ricky Shard, Sleeping Dart, me and Adam played a game against a POS 5 Ricky that basically was absolutely useless and did nothing for 20 minutes, and then got the Shard and basically won the game solo just from using this ability. Sleeping Dart, now the duration's increased from 3 to 4, which, to be honest, I'm not even sure if that's a buff, because 3 is already plenty. And also it makes it a little bit harder to combo with the Meteor Hammer now, because you used to use the dart and then you'd start Meteor Hammering like just a split second after the dart hit. So now you've got to wait a second and a split second, which is a bit harder to manage. But anyway. But the Shard Sleep no longer makes the target invulnerable to damage. They now wake up after taking 200 damage. So that means it's very easy to combo. And I'm wondering, this is something that I need to test, I'm wondering if you just Sleeping Dart and then Meteor Hammer on top, do they get
be
stunned
enough damage to wake? It probably is enough to wake them up.
But is it straight away? Stun. Do you not need to do 200 damage? So would you not just stay asleep?
Probably that plus a tick of the burn after. I would assume it's 200 like total, and not like you just need to go above a 200 threshold off of one spell.
Yeah, 200 total, but Meteor Hammer surely is going to take a few seconds to do 200 damage.
I don't know. I just, so we lost to it was Ricky plus Pudge combo, and you had to have a little bit of skill because you could not hook the target, they had to wake up, but now you don't. Now they just get hooked and then they wake up, so it's a lot easier. Also, we do win that game if we just buy one sentry, but it's quite a big range as well for him to shoot that dart.
But the range on Sleeping Dart is crazy how far it is, honestly. Whew.
Yeah.
And on a support, you just throw it out, and then it's really fast projectile, you're slept for 3 seconds, he then uses smoke screen on top of you, and then any sort of stun follow-up. Oh my god, it honestly the most insane thing ever.
Huge cloud radius talent, and then the cooldown cloud talent, it's just way different than any type of Ricky you're used to playing against. I'd blink in and totally feel like I could Winter's Curse something, and oh wait, this 1200 radius cloud, all of a sudden I can't use any of my spells. And then what else was really nasty about it?
I can confirm that if you use Sleeping Dart and then Meteor Hammer on top, it will stun. The stun goes through, so it takes them out of sleep and into stun. So it's actually bonkers. So this might be the MMR abuse here, honestly. You
couldn't force staff teammates. That was enraging me. You would get slept, and then you're invulnerable, and we couldn't force staff you away. That felt so bad.
They're uninteractable. You can't save them. You can't do anything to your teammates that are slept.
It's like we had 3 force staffs on the team and we couldn't do anything. It's like, this is pretty disheartening.
Please don't play Ricky like POS 4 or POS 5 and wait for 20 minutes. The downside is, and it's a huge downside, your hero's kind of awful until 20 minutes as a support. That's the downside. But when you get to 20 minutes, this sleeping dart is so good. It also, because it's out of invis, you get sleeping dart from across the map out of invis by a POS 5, and then the enemy team have like this perfect setup on you, and your team can't save you or 4-staff you or anything. Honestly, I came out of that game thinking like I should be playing Ricky POS 5 because you just press one spell and you just win. That was rough. Another hero, I don't know how many more we have that are major ones. I mean, Broodmother's obviously a major one. I don't know if we want to talk about that.
I think that's the most major one in terms of like rework. Like, that's the most different hero from what it was last patch.
That's the only hero who has her spell reworked, it seems. And it's not even that, it's just swapping ult with one of the spells, because now you spawn Spiderlings and ultimate.
Well, she got a new spell too, because they got rid of Incapacitating Bite.
Well, isn't that? I thought that was now a usable spell rather than a passive.
No, that was Insatiable Hunger, the ultimate. The Lifesteal ult got moved to a Q.
Yeah.
And then the Spawn Spiderlings got moved from a Q to an ult. And then the E got removed completely, and they put in the Ag Shard ability there.
Yeah.
Which is Silken Boa, or Bola. And then the Ag Shard just buffs that ability more, instead of granting it. So, I don't know if it's any good. I will say the Spawn Spiderlings as an ult, it's still got a really low cooldown. And at level 18, it is 440 damage on a 7-second cooldown for 100 mana. So,
which seems insane.
And 900 cast range. They both the cast range too. So that's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where you play the hero. I'm sure it's still a mid because you want to have like XP and stuff. But it'd be kind of cool to live in a world where you could play Brood in another way and just be like, hey, look, I'm a hero that has this ginormous nuke on a Dragon Slave cooldown.
Yeah. My instinct is that Brood will be nerfed heavily. The reason that's my instinct is because Brood is sort of a gotcha pick because of Spored Spiderlings. And now laning against Brood mid is kind of fine. And they can't farm until level 6.
Yeah.
So that just feels really crippling for Broodmother.
So what is she going to do? Walk up to you with a lifesteal?
Yeah.
Like the Insatiable Hunger just bite you a couple times?
Yeah. Even on a hero like OD, which is the hardest counter, Broodmother counters OD more than any other hero. You don't even care anymore. You just lane mid as OD and then you just leave. Like at level 6.
I can see it being... It reminds me of Morphling, how Morph is, you need to get to level 5, say, maybe get a Massive Madness, and then you're sufficient, you jungle, you're very high, fine to do that. Brood, it was like, yeah, okay, you can jungle from level 2. It now feels like a way that 6 obviously is paramount for the Brood to hit, to then get the spiders to then woods and jungle and farm. So now it feels like the strategy is you bring 2 to the Brood's lane, you delay that 6 as long as possible. Like you say, what's the Brood going to do? It's just it's got no useful spells pre-6. The longer you can delay that, the more damaging it will be. So I think that sounds like a nice idea. I don't know what these numbers will be like. Maybe broken in some way. It's really hard to tell.
The whole point of Broodmother is though that you web around and you kill the camps pre-6 and you accelerate massively. Now you can't do that, so you have to lane properly.
Yeah.
And your laning's really bad without the spiders. So I'm not sure. It seems hard to me. But maybe the laning's better now? I mean, I'm sure it'll be better to an extent, but how much better, I don't know.
So, I mean, Insatiable Hunger, for level 2, say, 10-second duration, you get 40 damage and 80% lifesteal. and it's then got 25.
60 mana. Like, it seems a decent
23
spell.
seconds.
That does seem pretty good, actually. The damage is pretty good.
Yeah, so that's a lot of damage. It's like a little mini metamorphosis for 10 seconds in the lane. You do a lot of right click, you get a lot of heal from that.
Dominate CS with that.
Dominate CS with that. So the lane in with this Insatiable Hunger could be okay, but like we said, in the mid, if it's a 1v1, but then you get camped by a second hero, you're going to struggle.
I'm trying support Brood. I'm doing it. You max his Bola. Slows enemies by 55% for 6 seconds, 40% miss chance, 160 damage.
And then you do weird stuff with Spiderlings when you're 6. Like weird vision stuff, just send them for vision and all that.
Well, I mean, level 6 spawn Spider, like the ultimate, the first level of it, does more damage than level 7, like 4 points did.
Yeah, that's true.
And on a comparable cooldown, like 9 seconds versus 8, like it's kind of really good. So I don't know. I feel like you could be some like 4 position and be really strange with your webs and come out of nowhere, and I kind of want to try that. And like just not do Insatiable Hunger, maybe a value point, and just like be obnoxious magic damage Brood. But it's probably bad. But that's probably how I'd want to try it. Yeah.
I just want to say, any heroes we want to name check, probably should try and wrap this up, because it's getting to like an hour and a half.
Crystal Maiden Shard lets you move during your ult. That's probably it's probably still bad, but I want to try it, because, you know, you have to try one of your top 2 heroes played when it gets a change. And Dazzle Hex on the Shard, I think, is OP. Like, I think that hero will be good. Like, it will be a good 5 to play, because Poison Touch, just getting a Hex on it, like, you're going to interrupt TPs, interrupt channels. Poison Touch now immediately applies damage so that people can't blink out. Like, I think it will be a really solid hero.
Marco, anything you want to name check? Enigma's kind of wrecked.
Enigma's Eidolon spell. Cooldowns, 15 seconds longer, so yeah, kind of redundant. But obviously could still be a hero, but way less strong. There's no hero that I want to play outside of DB, Dawnbreaker, or what's her name?
There's so many heroes I want to play.
Honestly,
I want to play Necro and get E-Blades. I mean, get
what
the free.
about we didn't say this when we were reading it before. About this Legion Commander support, press the attack reworked on the Shard, apply spell immunity for 1.75 seconds, reduced cooldown by 3 seconds. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
To put like that you already were doing that, you know, like the off lane, be going pipe and stuff, that one meta, and like all you're really doing was like putting your press the attack on the carry. Now instead of like giving that hard to spell, it's a hard to spell plus magic immunity on probably like a 8 second cooldown after it gets reduced.
Do you grant magic immunity, or is it just for you though?
No, it says apply magic or spell immunity. So like,
nice.
I mean, that seems pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
I like that.
Lion, the Lion Shard, we talked about that one, where you channel your mana drain and it gives you magic immunity. Like, that's a
spell
pretty
immunity.
Like, I want to see that. That seems kind of a.
I feel like
funny.
You're not going to buy that though. There's so many items you want on Lion.
Of course, you're not going to buy it. But if you do buy it, think of what, like, surely that's got to be annoying for an enemy carry to deal with, because it is like a 20% slow or something.
I mean, we'll have to get back to the listeners next week with Patch Corner, and particularly Dawnbreaker Corner.
Hell
with
yeah.
all the updates
one more
after a week.
Can we say one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Morphling, the Morphling change.
Oh yeah, that's
say,
actually
please,
that's a
like,
nice
thank
one,
you so much. Thank you, Ice Frog.
Yeah, mana cost on attribute shift. That feels good.
Yes, just give me something to play toward. Like, you know, give me some something to think about. That how do we deal with this hero? And it's like, we're back to the mana burn strat, and I'm cool with it. Like,
yeah,
I'm used to that. Like, I will go Lion. I will get the Ag Shard I will become magic immune, and I will just drain him of his mana, and then he will not be able to shift. And I will be happy because I was starting to be at a loss of what to do.
Yeah, you and Nick are always crying about Morph, but also not just we can kill Morph better now, but also your own morphing management. You're going to be punished if you're using Morph all the time and end up in the woods with no mana because you've kind of mismanaged your Morph. So
you're going to be Morphling in the jungle and then be like, oh, now I don't have enough mana to like queue away, and then you're going to get gone on.
Oh yes, I think Morph's going to be trashed now, honestly, which is great to see.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's patch 2 points, whatever it is, 2 point something. I've just gone back in time. It's 10 years. 7.29. Join us again next week. Dawnbreaker Corner, games, return of games, which should be good given the new patch and all the updates. Presumably it will be patched 7.29C by then, with some firefighter patches that from insanely broken stuff that we've overlooked or whatever. But yeah, join us again then.